My eyes slowly fluttered open, the calm warmth of sleep so inviting. I had now ignored the obvious for too long. The rain tapped at the top of our mesh tent faintly, so light that I had tried to close my eyes in the hopes it would simply go away. But still, the sounds came, the cool water beginning to speckle my face. By the time I finally came to terms with the inevitable, the sprinkle had mutated into a deluge, the woods around us creaking against howling, distant winds high up in the treetops. Shit. I whispered to the bundled form beside me, watching her stir as more water began to create puddles atop her sleeping bag. She was lying halfway out of it anyway, only covered up to her knees. "Is that rain?" she sleepily grumbled, refusing to open her eyes. "Just a wee bit," I joked. "Ah, crap!" She suddenly stirred as her eyes snapped open. I gazed out the mesh of the tent with my flashlight to see my other two friends absent from their hammocks. They must have already scrambled for our car parked a ways down the road. "Well, tarp or car?" I nudged Sarah beside me as I hastily reached out to grab my hiking boots and lace them up. "Oh, I'm already so wet," she just grumbled, slumping back down. "Maybe we should just sleep in the river." "Right, so tarp then?" I laughed, wincing as I stepped out into the full-on rain and scrambled to pick up the folded plastic. I gave it a few quick shakes before haphazardly slapping it over the tent and rushing to stake it down before the wind tore it to God knows where. By the time I finally climbed back in to see Sarah's grinning face, my hair was dripping with water, my jacket soaked through. "No rain tonight, huh?" I rolled my eyes. Jesus Christ, someone fact-check Steve next time before we take that blockhead's word for it. "No, Sarah, I don't want to put the tarp up," Sarah mocked me with a nasally voice. "This way we can look at the stars. My name is John, and I like being dumb about things." "Wow, good impersonation," I nodded sarcastically. "I'm not sure who's the real me anymore." "Ah, good God, stop that!" Sarah put up her hands to shield her face as I shook my head to get some of the water out of my hair. "Hehehe, I am the rain now." I raised an eyebrow before sliding my coat off and squirming into my sleeping bag again. "Well, you're not welcome here," she pouted, slapping puddles off her own sleeping bag. The rain sounded like thunder above us now, striking the tarp so hard sleep was likely going to be impossible anyway. The sound of the wind roared above us, the driving rain interlaced with pelting pine needles and creaking wood as the trees were shredded to pieces all around us. But that wasn't the worst part. "Holy fuck, it's cold." Sarah shivered, still halfway out of her sleeping bag, dark blue eyes flashing as she used her phone to illuminate the space around her. Her hands fumbled in the dim light for her gloves. "Oh, poor you." I sunk further into my wet clothes. "You know, maybe if you actually used your entire sleeping bag, or heck, maybe a tree will fall on us, save you the pain." A large branch struck the tarp above us with a jarring crack. Sarah dropped her phone as she flinched, and my own heart skipped a beat. Fuck, I didn't mean it," I rapidly fumbled out, curling into my bag. "Please don't hurt me, Forrest." Several more snaps resounded in the treetops above us, the creaking and groaning intensifying as the rain turned to hail. "But in all seriousness," Sarah's eyes flashed to me as she picked back up her phone. "I mean, these trees looked pretty stable, right?" Yeah," I uncertainly responded, glancing at the obscuring black tarp above us. "I mean, probably. Honestly, I didn't really think about it until now." "Me neither," she grimaced. We're probably fine. The wind made ghastly shrieks as it barraged the fabric of our tent, the sound of flapping plastic intensifying until one more vicious scream caught the underside of the tarp. The entire structure was uprooted instantly, stakes spiraling into the air as the night sky erupted into view above us. The plastic square sailed like a trash bag into the branches of a nearby tree, snagging and ripping amongst the gnarled branches. Sarah let out a shriek as the howling rain and wind reached angry fingers through the exposed mesh above us. "Okay, cool, so car then!" I had to yell above the voracious noise. "Fuck!" Sarah just replied, scrambling out of her sleeping bag as we fumbled for our boots. Water lashed at our faces, the night an impossibly murky black all around us as I tried to keep my flashlight dry by stowing it in my pocket. Sarah finally wrenched the tent zipper down and had to hold onto her hood with one hand as she stumbled into the woods. I quickly followed, grudgingly stopping for a brief second to assess whether or not our tent was even staked down enough for this. I could hear Sarah shrieking in discomfort to my left as I rapidly heaved our water cooler into the tent to weigh it down just in case the wind picked up even more.
"Yeah, where the hell is the car?"
I heard Sarah cry out.
"John, who has the keys again? Flashlight, please."
Wait, I'm coming," I cried back towards the sound of her voice. "Give me a sec." I zipped back up the tent, not that it would do much good, and hurried towards Sarah's gloomy form in the distance. I fumbled for my flashlight, trying to keep it protected in my sleeve as I switched it on and scanned for the car. Finally, I saw its lonely form parked in the far distance. "Over there," I called to Sarah, trying to keep the beam away from her eyes as I gestured to her with the flashlight. "Wrong way, you nerd!" Her back was to me, black hair mangled and soaked as it fell down to her waist. "Yo, let's go!" I repeated, waving the flashlight. That's when reality seemed to snap, my visual perception warping with nightmarish intensity. Sarah seemed to break. With jagged, mistimed motions, flaying water in every direction as it did so, her body appeared to twist back on itself, the event gruesomely silent from my considerable distance. Her spine and arms gnarled into jagged, twisted messes of sheared flesh, her head wrenching sideways before her jaw dislocated, the rest of her skull rolling back to face me. Her eyes were starched open, pinprick irises clouded over by rot as filthy mud caked every orifice. Her skin was stretched to the point of tearing, so pale it reflected my flashlight back at full force. This all happened within a fraction of a second, like a spliced movie frame, not even enough for me to consciously process it, but more than enough for fear to strangle the air from my lungs. My heart spiked with enough force to knock me down, my hand fumbling with the flashlight before my perception snapped back to normal without even waiting for me to blink. Sarah turned around and shielded her face from the beam I was now shakily holding right into her eyes.
"Gotcha,"
she called back.
"Fucking put that thing down, would ya? Do you have the keys or not?"
I didn't move. Didn't so much as lower the beam as she began walking towards me. What the hell had just happened? I blinked heavily several times, hands shaking unsteadily. I moved the beam off of her and then back on. She continued walking forwards, shadows stretching long behind her, dancing along the black, mangled trees. Fuck, I whispered to myself, going so far as to hit myself in the head with my hand in an attempt to dislodge the ghastly image. I wiped hair from my eyes, lowering my beam before flicking it back to the car in the distance. That's when it happened again. This time, I heard it before I saw it. Bones snapped and split, a horrific silence muting out the rain and wind as I could only hear the sounds of churning flesh. My flashlight whirled to catch the ghastly scene, my limbs backpedaling without my knowledge. Again, the grisly face had broken into view, elongated and malformed as the figure spasmed like a marionette in a blender. It seemed to drag along the ground towards me at inhuman speed. I found soundless words pouring from my mouth like cloying tar, fear leaving my fingers to squeeze against the flashlight, unintentionally clicking it off. The scene plunged into utter darkness, the gruesome sounds breaking to a sprint across the sullied ground. It was less than a second before I was able to flick the light back on, and the distortions cut out without warning. The rain pelted down, Sarah so close now I jumped at the sight of her. She flinched back as well, before laughing with a sneer. "Boo," she giggled. Now, seriously, stop waving that thing in my face." I found myself still backing up as she approached, unable to process what had just happened but subconsciously unwilling to allow her to get too close. What was that?" I feebly croaked out, unsure of what I even expected as an answer. What? Are you okay?" What? She responded, even going so far as to check behind herself in confusion at my horrified expression. Wait, yeah, what's wrong? I don't know, I stammered out, shaking my head. You just, in the light, you just looked a little, I don't know, you looked weird all of a sudden. She paused, trying to walk forwards more quickly in concern to close the distance between us, as if not registering that I was intentionally backing away from her. Like what? Like, just weird. I shook. I don't know, twisted or like broken or something. Jesus, what the hell is wrong? She cocked her head, now realizing that I was physically putting out my hands as I increasingly backed away. John, whoa, seriously, dude, hold on. Why is your hood off? I suddenly tensed, realizing it for the first time. Why the fuck would you take that off? Oh? Her face wrinkled in confusion. Wait, just stop! I cried, pushing out my hand and training the flashlight in her eyes. Sarah, fucking stop! God, Jesus! She winced away, stopping dead. John, chill the fuck out. Can we please go to the car before a tree smashes us to a pulp? Her hands squeaked as they fumbled for her hood, eventually grasping the slippery material and pulling it back over her head. The howling wind instantly tore it off again with a violent lash. God damn it, she cursed. Why is my hood off, John? Oh, I don't know. She turned against the wind and put up her hand to shield her face. Maybe because of this goddamn sideways rain, can you drop this weird act so we can get going? Trees all around us swayed like flimsy stalks of wheat, distant thunder cracking overhead to follow a muted flash. Sarah took a step forwards. No, wait! I staggered back, again throwing out my hand. John, for fuck's sake! She cried, stopping as her hands balled into fists. What the hell is the matter? I don't know. I don't know. Fuck. I tried unsuccessfully to compose myself, fear quavering my voice. I'm freaking out, Sarah, I'm serious. I don't know how to describe it, but you looked so
wrong. Well, I feel pretty shitty, she called back in exasperation. I don't know what to tell you, John. Seriously, don't know what you're talking about. I promise you I'm fine. Can we please go? Her squinted eyes gazed at me through sunken, wet sockets, light shivers starting to rack her pale body. Yeah, okay. I nodded, feeling the sickness in my stomach only grow more overpowering. Okay, let's go. I turned around and began hesitantly walking, only to immediately spin around again in terror as I cried out, "Oh, wait, no!" I fully expected the ghastly face to greet me inches away as its unhinged jaw lurched forwards. But instead, I only caught Sarah walking slowly forwards. I know this is going to sound weird, I continued, but, could you please walk in front of me? What? She cried over the wind. I can't hear you. What about the front? Walk in front, please, I repeated. Please, just humor me. What? Jesus, fine, she responded, walking forwards as I backed up perpendicular to her. Her head followed me as she passed, and my heart locked up for the brief seconds she crossed near enough for me to see the breath curling from her lips. My heart continued to hammer even after she began walking in front of me. I trained the flashlight at her back, slowing down my pace enough to increase the distance between us to where I felt some semblance of comfort amidst my jittering nerves. That being said, any time I felt my paranoia begin to wane, she would suddenly stop, for one reason or another, either to tie her boots or take longer than necessary to figure her way around a tree or bush. It was only after it became clear that I had stopped as well and hadn't come any closer that she would continue on, stealing a glance behind herself and giving me a nod. This kept my nerves on edge, but the longer we walked, the more I began to realize that I was reading too far into things, my paranoia justifying strange things to myself. What the hell was I doing measuring her changes in pace? It was a damn forest, my flashlight so far away that whatever light I was able to give her was weak and diluted by rain and sleet. Of course she was going to slow down at points. What the fuck was I trying to prove? The weird lighting and storm must have been playing tricks on me, no matter how real it had seemed at the time. Yet I just couldn't shake the gnawing feeling of dread that churned at my insides. And so, when Sarah suddenly stopped yet again, just a few feet from the car, turning around to face me, my stomach knotted up. My conscious and subconscious mind went to war as I slowly forced myself to continue forwards. What's up? I spoke up as I approached nervously. Got the keys? She raised her eyebrows. I stopped. It's unlocked. I spoke slowly, sluggish blood squirming with ice. Just open the door. No, it's not, she spoke, trying the handle to no avail. Do you have them or not? My feet sloshed beneath me as I unsteadily adjusted my footing. Ask Steve or Matt to open it for you. I felt the words turn sour in my mouth. They're inside already. She was leaned against the car, gangly shadow flickering against its dark reflective paint. Her soaking hair trailed in the wind like flayed flesh, her eyes circled with dark rings of water. I don't want to wake them. She tilted her head. My flashlight's beam pierced directly into her hollow retinas, her eyes no longer flinching or narrowing, just staring headlong. John, where the hell are you going? She stepped forwards from the car as I took a step back. There. The words spilled from me like cold water. They're not inside, are they? What did you say? She responded in irritation. John, you're acting weird as fuck. Do you want to die of hypothermia? I thought it was strange. I never saw the lights go on. I shook my head. When I was putting the tarp up, the car was dark the whole time. I can't hear you, Sarah called, waving her arms in frustration. What the hell are you doing? She finally seemed to give in, knocking on the windows of the car harshly and yelling inside. Yo, Matt, Steve, she cried. Open up for fuck's sake. No response came from inside the pitch-black interior. Come on, she cried, rapping against the glass. Yo, wake up! She stopped, eyes squinting as she pressed her face to the glass. I, in turn, quickly flashed my flashlight around the forest behind me, a move that was meant to be a passing action. Until my hand stopped dead midway through its sweep. John? Sarah called out, voice muffled against the car. John? Dude? Where the hell are Steve and Matt? The figure in my flashlight beam twitched with gruesome distortions, brokenly standing between two gnarled trees. Its ghastly black hair draped down to its waist, nearly covering its decayed, vacant eyes. They're not in the car, Sarah called out again. John, Matt and Steve aren't... Her voice choked to strangled silence, eyes flashing to the thing, jittering violently within the confines of the small, yellowed circle of light. What the... She weakly squeaked, not even completing her sentence before the flashlight split with a spark of dead orange, everything going black. I flailed back towards the car in horror, immediately dropping the failed flashlight and fishing my phone out of my pocket. I slid the flashlight app open, giving little mind to the water immediately dotting my screen nor the "no service" warning in the corner. I trained the faint white light back into the forest. The figure hadn't moved at all, its horrid face coming into view as it continued to stand and stare in the distance. What the fuck is that? Sarah shrieked beside me. John? John? I don't know, I cried as I fumbled for my keys with my other hand. Why the hell does it look like you? What? She shrieked. No, what do you mean? Shit. I just cried, trying to keep my light on it, faltering as my keys dropped to the muddy ground. I don't know, it looked like you before, or you looked like it, I swear to God. My hand scraped up the car keys as I frantically pressed at the unlock button with my numb fingers. My phone beam lifted back into the forest, to reveal nothing but silhouetted trees. The figure was gone, ghastly rain pelting the ground where it once stood. Fuck! I cried, hearing the locks of the doors click off. Where did it go? I quickly surveyed the tree line with my phone light, only to again stop short as I caught it several trees over. Except, it didn't look the same at all. Its limbs had shifted back into place, dark blue eyes wide with fear.
John,
the figure cried from the trees.
Fucking Christ, behind you!
My heart squirmed into my throat, my legs pinwheeling as I whirled around in a flash. Sarah flinched away, hand raising to cover her eyes, panicked voice crying out,
The car, it's still locked, hurry! No, fucking stop!
I cried, scrambling back from the figures until they both stood in my peripheries. The resemblance was uncanny.
Where the hell are you going?
The Sarah by the car tried at the door handle as she glanced with horrified eyes into the forest, going so far as to unsuccessfully punch at the glass in panic.
Fucking open it, John! No!
The creature in the forest cried out.
John, how the hell did you get over there? Run! Don't you see that?
I cried, hand uncontrollably shaking as it flashed the light between the two figures.
Sarah, why the fuck does it look like you? Don't you hear what it's saying? John, just give me the fucking keys!
Sarah just screamed.
I don't know what you're talking about. It looks the same as always. Saying what?
Her heels slid on the mud as she tried to scramble towards me.
Unlock the car,
she cried.
John, I swear to fucking God! I already did!
I cried, pressing the button again frantically, watching the lights flash yet again as the locks clicked open.
Stay away from me!
She slid to a stop as she thrashed back to the car, hands slapping against the handle only to wrench at the door unsuccessfully again. The figure in the forest began walking forwards, Sarah's panicked hands trying the other handle before devolving to furious pounds at the glass.
Just give me the damn keys!
Her sopping hair flung wildly as she spun back to me.
John, fuck, it's getting closer! John, no, this way.
The creature shook its head.
I'm seeing what you are. That thing is not me. The minute I left the tent, it separated us. Don't fucking go near it. Sarah, what's your mom's name?
I addressed the Sarah by the car. My keys were gripped so tight in my hand I felt tendons shifting out of place.
John, I don't know what you're seeing, but whatever is coming out of the forest now, it's not me. You just saw it 10 seconds ago. How could you possibly be confusing us? Fucking help!
If you were so cold, I just mumbled more to myself than anything. Why didn't you go all the way inside your sleeping bag?
What?
She shrieked, heels digging into the ground as she sprinted towards me.
Get over here!
I panicked, throwing my keys overhand into the forest to my right. Sarah's eyes exploded open in terror, flailing to change direction as she darted after it.
Fuck!
She screamed in hysteria.
What the fuck? You're going to kill us both!
Her form disappeared into the darkness to my right. The Sarah at the edge of the forest motioned to me in panic, nodding to the car, blue eyes slimmed to terrified pinpricks. I started running to meet up with her, only to suddenly switch directions and barrel towards the car on my own.
Wait, no, wait for me!
Sarah cried, sprinting forwards as well.
John, what the fuck? A fucking rock?
The Sarah in the forest screamed out. My hands fished the actual keys out of my pocket as I slid on the mud, jabbing the unlock button before jumping into the car. I thrashed the door closed behind me, immediately locking everything again and starting up the car.
John?
Matt cried out in hysterics from the back seat, nearly falling over himself as he scrambled backwards. It's really me. I just jammed the car into gear. We're getting the fuck out of here.
Sarah,
he gagged in horror.
She
was trying to get me to open the car so she could reach you. I nodded, eyes slowly widening as the tires spun uselessly in the mud. Every time I unlocked the car, you had to scramble to manually relock them before she could open the door.
John!
A voice shrieked outside the driver's side window, fists pounding against it. Sarah's panicked eyes came into view as she practically fell against the car in terror. Her nails scraped at the glass, eyes darting to the Sarah re-emerging from the forest.
John, fucking help!
She screamed, shaking the car.
Let me in!
It got Steve, didn't it? I looked to Matt, shifting the car into reverse. I woke up when it was fucking disemboweling him. He shivered, eyes wide in terror as he looked between the two Sarahs. I'm so sorry I fucking left you, man. I knew you had the car unlocked, so I just sprinted here and locked the doors. And that's why it was so obsessed with the keys. I gritted my teeth as the tires again slid uselessly beneath the car. No survivors. Jesus fucking Christ! Matt hysterically cried as Sarah's hand splintered the glass of the window, breaking her own bones in the process. Fucking let one of them in, man! Which one is the real Sarah? The figure stumbling out of the forest was nearly upon the Sarah, clawing at the glass. I took a second to breathe. Neither. I spoke coldly. Warm blood rolled down the window as everything seemed to warp into slow motion. The creature slowly let its arm slide down the cracked glass, picking up jagged shards the entire way down. The two figures outside slowed to a dead stop. What? Matt's breath left him, wide eyes unblinking. It started to rain immediately after you ran to the car, didn't it? I spoke. He nodded in terror. I know, because that's what woke me up. I continued. And by that point, Sarah was in her sleeping bag beside me. I held back vomit. But I continued at length. She must have been stuffed at the bottom, and that thing was only able to fit halfway inside of the sleeping bag because of it. Matt's eyes flashed with horror, another grisly crack resounding beside me as the grinning creature slammed its face against the window. The real Sarah was long dead before I saw either of them tonight. I shivered. There's two of them. Well, a voice hissed coyly to my left, dead lips pressed to the shattered glass. You're right about one thing. The creature spun around, hand thrashing out to grip a terrified Sarah, a hysterical scream following suit. I jolted upright in my seat as Sarah screamed bloody murder and flailed to free herself. The look-alike glitched with horrific distortions as it clawed at her ankles, dragging her towards itself. But wrong about another, the creature cackled. Tears of raw terror streamed down Sarah's face as her shrieks filled with boiling blood, the double cackling with malice as it peeled apart her sternum. My skin drained of color, my hands pressing against the glass. Two of them. My voice dryly echoed in my head, Matt's form looming in my peripherals. My heart staggered to a stop. Sarah's agonizing scream split outwards as the creature raked its way into her entrails, sloshing them onto the ground as her voice strangled to a soundless wail, throat and lungs collapsing. I felt vomit squelch into my throat, my hand throwing open the door as I scrambled out before Matt could reach for me. I slipped and flailed around the creature, disemboweling Sarah before falling with a hard crack as a grisly hand snapped around my ankle. No, no! I screamed, spinning around and kicking wildly, only to see that it wasn't the creature's hand around my ankle. It was Sarah's. Her bloody limb had thrashed outwards to grab me, suddenly splitting apart and twisting on itself with distortions. Though her chest was splayed in every direction, a ghastly smile worked its way across her pale face, carving up to her ears as her head shifted out of alignment. The creature, in turn, had rapidly scuttled to its feet, hand now wedged in between the car door to hold it open. Matt still lay trapped inside, petrified and pale, as he stared at me in betrayal.
Whoops.
The creature hissed as its broken limbs worked its way inside the car, and Matt began to scream.
Right the first time, John.
The disemboweled Sarah giggled as its gangly limbs reeled me across the muddy ground towards it.
But it's nice to see someone so mistrusting. Makes the game a bit more fun.